Well, actually, before I was a stand-up comedian, I was a columnist, a journalist for The Stage. Everybody familiar with The Stage? It's a newspaper that all actors read, that all performers read. You find out about auditions, you find out about shows going on, you find out about them looking for dancers, jobs, the industry. I was the columnist there, the ventriloquist columnist. I wrote a column on ventriloquism for The Stage magazine for many a year. You probably know my name, Jonathan Hartley. I broke the big story. I broke that big story on the one-armed doll. The one-armed doll, one of the first disabled dolls in ventriloquism. Part of the wonderful equal opportunities spirit that was sweeping through that particular industry at the time. It's a hell of a job. It was a hell of a job. Sometimes it took me all over. It took me sometimes, well, took me a lot of places. Sometimes I could be at the end of Blackpool Pier. And then the next week I could be, it could take me all the way to the other side of Blackpool. Ah, God, terrific acts. It was me that discovered Jack Jones and his doll Carl, the first black ventriloquist doll. Terrific departure, and also it was me that discovered some of the, well, I mean, just some of the biggest ventriloquist acts going these days. I'm sure you're all familiar with them. But you know, one of the problems with being a ventriloquist columnist for The Stage was that I often had to interview ventriloquists at length. You know, I did large profile pieces on ventriloquism, and one of the defining features of a ventriloquism, and you won't know this because you aren't into what we call vento-journalism, is that ventriloquists always insist that you interview both them and their doll at the same time. They all think that's terribly cute, and it can get very boring, actually. And they insist that I speak seriously to the doll, in case I offend it. You know, I don't want to make it feel like a piece of wood and cloth. So I actually have to actually address real questions to this doll, and to the ventriloquist himself, and quite often. Well, I was speaking to Jeff Jones and his ventriloquist doll, Charlie. Though Charlie liked to be referred to as the associate or the straight man. Anyway, at least that's what he told me. And well, I was talking to Jeff, and Charlie said something rather interesting. He said, "Who's this big Scots git?" And I said, "Jeff, watch it. You know, I don't know why you've been quite so..." "No, I'm sorry, it's not, well, Charlie, you watch it then." Just, I mean, Charlie got really quite insulting. I mean, Jeff was talking to me in a perfectly reasonable way, and Charlie kept going, you know, making fun of my Scottish accent, and making, you know, nasty comments about my dress, and, you know, finally one thing led to another, and I arranged to meet them outside. I don't know if you arrange to meet people outside, in the alley behind the club later on. Is it an arrangement? Is it a booking? I don't know. I organised a meeting of a sort after the gig that night because I felt we had to sort some things out here. Anyway, the idea was that Jeff was supposed to come out alone, but of course Charlie came along with him. You know, and I wasn't too happy with that because, you know, it was mano a mano, me and Jeff. I didn't want to deal with Charlie as well. Anyway, Charlie insisted on staying, so, but he did promise just to stay out of it while we settled things between ourselves. And so the fight, it was a fight, in fact. And this is part of the reason I'm no longer a columnist. In the stage, a ventriloquist columnist, it's no longer me. We started a fight, and well, you know, Jeff started off the fight with a left hook, because, of course, well, Jeff started off with a left hook. Charlie was staying out of it. Jeff only had a left hook, so it wasn't too hard to dodge it. And I went in there, and I threw my pencil and notepad at him, and things got ugly very quickly. And well, as the fight progressed, he kept throwing the left hooks. I kept dodging them. I kept trying to punch Jeff in the face. He kept dodging me, and then finally I planted one on him. Finally. And Jeff reeled back. But at that moment, Charlie decided to headbutt me. And I struck Charlie very hard. And then he grabbed, with his jaw, he grabbed this black suitcase that just happened to be there that Jeff had brought out, and sideswiped me in the face. And, well, I really went for Charlie then. Jeff was trying to kick me and give me a left hook. But finally I won. I won the fight. I did win the fight. I lost my job. I won the fight. And, well, you know, actually went to court, and I had to pay for Charlie's reconstructive carpentry. And, but Jeff lost his case for loss of earnings, because the judge decided that being a ventriloquist and having a kind of wired up jaw wouldn't actually affect him. In fact, it was probably the one career where a wired up jaw wouldn't affect your ability to make money. Anyway, that's what happened in ventriloquism.